you find now, like with social media and everything, how has that changed how you talk about the show, how you view the show, and how you get feedback?
I'm pretty active social media, and I've got a lot of people that I talk to on a regular basis. So it's weird. Sometimes I get nervous about social media, about letting people know too much about me, because it might affect how they see the characters I play. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So there's time I actually quit social media for a while because of that, and then I was talked back into it by publicity department of a show that I was doing. So I'm back on it. But that I worry about that a lot. As far as what they have to say, how it affects what I do with the characters, is that part of the question?
Kind of, because a lot of people, depending on how they feel about fan feedback, they may or may not take that in terms of how they play a character, how they view their own storyline.
I don't let it affect me at all. I enjoy talking to them and hearing what they have to say about what we're doing and about the show, and but I don't take that in and let it affect how what I do with the character, because that's all just, especially with Skinner, because I've played him for so long, and he's just a part of me, and so when I go back and we start working on the show again, it's just, and with David and Jill too, it's just, we just kind of fall right back into it. It's just a real natural thing for us, I think.
Are we going to see more of Skinner this season?
Yes.
Yay. Can you tease a little bit about that?
Tease. We're actually getting ready to shoot a Skinner-centric episode, which is you find out a lot about who he is and why he is the way he is. So it's I'm very excited about it. Gabe Rotter wrote it, a long-time associate of Chris's, and now he's one of our producers, and I'm very happy for him. It's so cool in this business to see guys start out as like an assistant and make it to an executive producer who's writing shows for the X-Files. That's pretty awesome, and it really makes me happy to see that kind of success for these guys who work really, really hard, at what they're doing.
Did you develop a bit of a backstory for Skinner on your own before the writers informed it?
Because of what I had been given from Chris in those earlier episodes about his Vietnam background, his experiences, it kind of stews, in my head, and then eventually it just, I don't like sit down and write, stuff. I just kind of like let it just sink in, and when I go into work, I just kind of just like immerse myself into what the reality of what's going on in the scene, and where he's coming from. And like I say, we find out a lot more about where he's coming from this season, and a lot of it I think lines up with where I've taken him. So I'm excited about that.
That must have been gratifying.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
How do you think Skinner's evolved as a character and grown over the years?
Well, initially he was brought in pretty much as a roadblock for the in cahoots with the cigarette smoking man, until he found out exactly what was transpiring, and because Skinner is a man with, like I say, such a strong moral compass. That's Chris's word, and I'm stealing it from him. Because I keep going, well, he's very moral and very ethical, and then I heard him say moral compass. I was like, all right, I'm using that. But where was it? I do this all the time. I start going somewhere.
Well, you said that he has a strong moral compass, and that and that's part of how that centers him after.
Brought in as a roadblock.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. How he's evolved. Thank you.
Yeah.
And as time went on, there was a scene in an episode where it really started, and it was with Cigarette Smoking Man and Mulder, and Skinner realizes that he's being used by Cigarette Smoking Man because he's lying. Mulder's telling the truth, and at that point, he says, "Get the hell out of my office." And Cigarette Smoking Man thinks that I'm talking to Mulder, and I'm telling Cigarette Smoking Man, "Get out of my office." And that's where they really. The two of them really start butting heads, and to this day, they're still butting heads.
Yeah,
I had a scene with Bill Davis, first episode, that was just with Bill Davis and Annabeth Gish, and he was wonderful. He plays. I mean, it's like he makes the dialogue that he's given so rich, and I can't tell you exactly what transpires, but he comes into the scene and he does. There's this moment that I'm like going. I was sitting there watching him as Skinner, and I was like going, holy shit! It's like that is so cool what you just did, and it was so simple.
Right.
You know, so yeah, but. To the point where now you're like I say, you find out so much more about who he is, and I think he is their champion, you know, within the FBI. So,
did the outside world, you know, kind of last time we talked, it was about, you know, your own view on politics and, you know, governments and, you know, all these kind of things from your family and your dad and growing up. You know, going back to the earlier.
I don't know what my politics were then, but they probably changed substantially.
They probably changed. We'll talk about that. Has the outside
I don't
world
want to talk about politics,
you
but
and Skinner? You know, what you bring.
It has definitely affected the character because it
I know.
if he starts throwing shit at me, I swear to God, I'm going to kick his ass right here.
Lucky if he doesn't lick your ear. Oh, I gotta go.
Yeah, okay. It's good talking. It's good talking to you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He kicked your ass.
Yeah, no, it definitely affects where Skinner has been, where he's going, what he's doing now, because it has. I mean, obviously, it has such an effect on everything that's going on right now, and it's such a great this time right now is so rich for the X-Files because it's all just, you know, conspiracies and lies. Nobody's telling the truth. Truth ain't out there anymore, man. Because it's like it's just everybody's lying about everything. And it's just what do we believe? And so that's why I think that it's such a rich time for the X-Files. Do you think so? I mean, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Do you
Everything's
think
come
that
full
factored in
circle.
some?
It really is. It's like, I'm
Do
sorry.
you think that has factored into any of the stories at all? Kind of the current mess, definitely.
Wait till you see.
Okay, because I know in the past, the most we'd get was like the president's pictures on the wall.
Well, see,
you
like,
know, and
see,
now
like,
there's so much going on.
see, like, as Chris has said, it's almost dangerous to speak to what is transpiring right now because it changes so quick.
Right.
And what is valid now, maybe, you know, in 2 months or 3 months, maybe a completely different. I mean, who knows what the world's going to be even in 3 months.
If we're going to be here.
Right. You don't know what's going to happen on Monday, let alone.
She's Louise, yeah. I mean, it's like, holy moly.
Can you talk about the secrecy of the show? Like, how do you get scripts? Are they color coded? Some people are allowed to take.
They're not red scripts like they used to be, which I guess you couldn't copy red paper. I don't know. They do have our names on them though. Their names is plastered across every page. So if something gets out there, then they know where it came from. But it's hard because I was talking to Chris about this. We're in hotels. Our scripts are in our hotel rooms. You know, like I've got scripts strewn all over my hotel room. You know, and anybody can come in and look at them. You know, and as a matter of fact, well, and I can't even talk about it. I can't even say that something happened on social media that I was like going, where did they get that? You know, because they shouldn't have had it. And it's like they came up with this theory about an episode that was like on point. You know, and I'm like going, that's a little too random for somebody just to like.
Yeah. Spies are everywhere.
They are, you know, and like originally I was saying to Chris that on the old chat rooms when we were originally doing the show on the internet, the chat rooms that were like they were so prehistoric. They were like that. I would go on them and people would be talking about what was transpiring in the script before I even got it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if we had, you know, like people going into the offices looking at storyboards at night, you know, when they were, I don't know, but people knew way too much about the show. It's hard. It's hard to do.
Yeah,
And just, I mean, like you're talking to you guys, it's like I want to say so much, but I can't.
What went through your mind when you read the first script then of the premiere episode?
I thought, yeah, this is right. It just felt it was right. I think, you know. So I hope, and I think the fans are going to go, whoa, because it's a head spinner.
What do you think keeps Skinner more grounded?
I'm sorry?
What do you think keeps Skinner, he's always felt very, at least to me, like very, very grounded, kind of a stabilizing force. What do you think keeps him that way, as opposed to kind of going off into the deep end that's moment?
His past, which you find out about.
Damn it.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I wish I could say more, but it's like you really do find out a lot about Skinner, and it's pretty cool.
Strong moral compass.
He's got a strong moral compass.
Thanks,
I'd like to say it. Let me see. What's a good moral compass?
When you look back on every single episode, whether it's the reboot or the past, what single scene or what single storyline surprised you the most?
Surprised me? Man, that's a lot of episodes, darling.
If you could just like pick one or two.
Well, home was like kind of like blew my mind, and the lady who played the mother on Home, Under the Bed, just did an episode. She plays multiple characters, and I understand it's a tour de force. I understand it's just freaking amazing. She was amazing in that. I don't know. I think a lot of the humor that was brought to the show is always kind of like I was like whoa, and I think it's invaluable to the show. But they're so good at it together.